Good day, everyone. It's Vin Robinson. It's that time of year that everybody's been waiting for. Going back to school. Back to school is cool. It's Frosh Week. There's so much that's going to be happening, especially at the junior category as young university students, young college students get ready to prepare themselves for the year ahead. A lot of people that we have in our program are young student athletes, and these student athletes know that they need an opportunity to expose themselves and compete at a higher level. And that's what today's show is about. It's all about competing and competition. And we're going to be taking a deep dive into Midwest basketball and our exhibition series that we offer. So once again, it's Vin Robinson reporting from the Royal Legacy Hotel, 44 McPhillips inside the International Players Club. We'll be right back. Welcome back to C2C Central. I'm Vin Robinson. What we're going to get into right now is talking a little bit about lottery draft, but before we get to that, we can't talk about where we're going without talking about where we came from. And we are structured as a nonprofit organization that is here to help athletes in the junior category from 18 to 25. But that's not the seed, it's not the root, it's not where we came from. Going way back, we were structured to be helping youth primarily at 14, 15, 16, and a lot of these athletes tended to grow with us. We have some very good honorable mentions that we're going to be talking about later in the show that have come out of the Manitoba Drive program that ultimately are doing big things in Ontario, Ottawa to be specific right now. But more than that, we have a lot of players across the country and even internationally right now that's most likely going to make this one of our strongest seasons yet. Rebounding from COVID is something that had to be quite strategic because there was a lot of companies that tended to fail during that period. But we weathered the storm and we're here and we are going to continue to help these young student athletes. So what is important to us is that when we look at the structure, for example, exit strategy, we need to talk about after you do damage to your body, after playing years of sport, you might develop arthritis, broken bones, have all types of injuries. Essentially, you just want to have a good quality of life when you're done playing sport. And these are things that I really would like players to think about. Above and beyond that, what we want them to think about is the etiquette of sport. More or less how to talk in front of the camera for interview. In addition to that, how to carry yourself when you're out in public, because you're representing a number of people, your family, your state, your province, your country, and these are all important things on method of operating, the optic lens and who's always watching you. So these are the things that is important to make young athletes aware. I'm not quite sure if the radar is always on and the head is always on a swivel, but these are the types of topics and mission that we stand behind. And these are the ongoing topics that we're going to keep driving home. Once again, as student athletes are going back to school, we encourage student athletes to read to succeed. And really, that's quite important. And I'm going to throw a word out there today that when you have a moment, hop on your device, check it out, see what it's all about. It also has to do a key part about our makeup and why we do what we do for our young student athletes. It's called gentrification. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into it. It's something that I want you to research, and on future C2C Central shows, we'll be talking about this topic a little bit deeper in depth. But for today's purpose, we kind of want to just glide the lily pad and let you know that there is programs out there for everyone, not just the privileged, but there are programs out here, strong programs for newcomers as well. And you're starting to really see a spike in the East Indian community and the African community that's happening with these basketball players. And there's going to be an explosion that's going to be happening. So once again, just being aware of your customer, being aware of the player, being aware of what's in the best interest of the athlete. These are all values that Midwest Basketball stands behind, and why the Midwest Basketball Exhibition Series was created. Now, when we get back from our commercial break, we will talk about some of the journey that these athletes go on in order to develop. Some of these athletes have knocked at the door, I would say, for college and university. But if you're never given the manual or the opportunity to make mistakes, or perhaps you're a newcomer that's just in grade 11 going into grade 12, and you really haven't had that opportunity or that time to develop, or perhaps COVID hit and you didn't have a chance to shine, that's where Midwest Basketball steps into place, because we continued with these exhibition series, and then those players that fell through the gap had an opportunity to showcase freshman, sophomore, senior, etc. You get it. And it's important, because you're only as good as your last year that you played. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and then get back to the topic. You know what we're about, you know where we've been. Once again, just gliding the lily pad. But we are going to talk about our season of 2023 and how exciting it was. So we'll be right back and start to get into the dive.
Fly whip, fly in it. Ay, I ain't got time, I ain't got a minute. What? I ain't about to roll up, we ain't about to kick it. Every day I'm out doing something different.
Welcome back to C2C Central. I'm Vin Robinson. Today we're talking about lottery draft, and also welcoming all of these student athletes back to school. Back to school is cool, and today's word of the day is gentrification. So make sure to check it out. It's a deep dive. It'll educate you to quite a bit that's going on in your community, in your area, and it's kind of really the root of what we stand for here at Midwest Basketball. So as we're getting into things, we're going to take a look back at the year in retro. 2023 was a great ride. We were bringing back members of our partnership with the ABA. That was terrific. And we know that this year for sure we're going to end up scaling. We did a number of things as we toured the country. And our first stop that we did was always in Winnipeg, which was our Anavetch tribute. Where we were in version 9.0. So this year is actually a very big year for us because it's our 10-year splash. So we really want to make sure that we're doing it right, paying homage with our Army vs. Navy showcase that we're going to be putting on in mid-November. And the players that we are looking at bringing in for this event really have a connection, because quite a few of them resonate in the Gatineau, Ottawa area, and you're going to see the love of the game that they're playing for. Now, as we're talking about the love of the game, from coast to coast, what I've really noticed is a lot of people got bit by that basketball bug. They got a basketball Jones. And I've seen it all. I've seen individuals coming in at wee hours of the morning, stepping on the court, still somehow being fresh of mind and being able to perform. I've seen individuals crossing the Niagara border just for the love of the game because they really have a passion for it. This is when I knew that Midwest basketball was scaling and that we were growing, and we were growing in the right direction because of what we were doing for these young student athletes in the junior category. Now, when you have a good recipe, you don't mess with it. What you do is you tend to refine it, tweak it like a fine wine, and that's what we've been doing. So here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, we are longitude and latitude dead center of North America. Peg City, really, when you think about it. And it gives us a terrific platform, an opportunity to be able to scale and propel, because all of these athletes, regardless of being international, north, south, east, west, they can all commute into Manitoba and be able to play and showcase. So we know that geographically this is a good place for us, but what our problem here is infrastructure. And we talked about it on our last episode a little bit, that a lot of people got the basketball bug. But as we're going into winter sport, we couldn't have a strong basketball program in Manitoba that is not playing out of high schools or unbranded, air-marked colleges or universities. So for these newcomers, soccer, cricket, basketball, where do they play out of? Now, all of this is once again method to the madness of why we are doing what we're doing here at Midwest Basketball. And our focus is definitely going to be on growing and making sure that we have a venue to play in year to come. So with that said, it strikes our next exhibition series that was on the mark. And that was Black History Month, once again, a tribute game that we play, and we do that on purpose. Every game, every event that we do is for cause, and we want to make sure that we're resonating and bringing joy to people to relieve PTSD for what we do. So after the Black History event, we tended to get into what was an education shootout, but we skipped that this year in April, and we actually ended up going out to Toronto. And in Toronto, we got into something called the Pro Can 3, where athletes had an opportunity to try out for different leagues, the CEBL, TBL, ABA, and it's a good experience for them to be able to see what it's all about. All-Star Weekend in Winnipeg, once again, was a great opportunity, but we're all over the map. So this year we have added 2 more events really to our roster. One's going to be in December, which we are going to move our All-Star Weekend to Toronto. So essentially we're going November, Army versus Navy. We are going to be in Toronto for All-Star Weekend, February back in Winnipeg for Black History Month. And we have a whole slew of things coming after that. Now, I know that this is a lot of information, but it's just to give you a short synopsis about what we are all about. When we come back, we're going to give you a breakdown of what you get for participating, and really how you get slated to play on teams. So we'll get right to the base of it all when we come back from this commercial break. I'm Vin Robinson. Welcome back. Vin Robinson here, and we're back to it with our new home inside the International Players Club, inside the basement of the Royal Legacy Hotel. We are here reporting, and this is part of what the whole method of the madness is about. We want to have our own properties. So for example, when players come into the city, we have our own shuttle, not that we have to rent a shuttle. We want to make sure that we have our own restaurant and nightclub so that we don't have to go out, and we can have a safe opportunity for average Joes to meet pros. So this is what this space is all about, as we're showcasing today to show a little bit of the growth and the community center that has been developed here for these young student athletes, once again in the junior category. So this here is all for you in all of its splendor. Now, we talked a little bit before about us gliding the lily pad, about where we've been, and where we are right now is in the process of helping anybody. We don't turn anybody away. Everybody has a skill set. It just might be that you have to put in the work, or you might be at a different level. But if you are given the recipe and you put in the work, you should be able to bake a cake. And that's what this is all about. So during these various exhibition series, it's not like you're starting off and then you're seeing, you know, all season long, am I going to get a chance to up my starter position or whatever. Every exhibition series that happens is a new contract, a new opportunity for growth, a new group of people coming in. So that's really where you can shine. If you put in the work in between the different exhibition series, you're going to be able to see, based on the quality footage, the quality video that we have, exactly how you're performing. It's that film. Now, one thing that I really want to hit home here is that the difference of performing at a college level versus performing at a professional level is really about IQ and the ability to be able to focus in crunch times of a game. Can you see a play being drawn up and be able to focus on that play without a chalkboard, for example? Can you just say, get out of my way, and I'm going to put the team on my back and go out there and score? So last year we did things a little bit different, where every time once an applicant made application to come in, we were giving $100 remuneration back to that player as a small per diem. This year what we're going to end up doing is we cover 3 meals a day, your hotel, your shuttle with an approved 3-kilometer radius of the lodging, and these things are really our hospitality to show you welcome to Winnipeg. I don't know a lot of other programs out there that are doing that, so really it's just a method of us giving you a big hug from coast to coast. So not falling short of any of this, to keep it simple, stupid, you make your application. Once you make your application, you get a contract sent out to you. The contract will have the various criteria that we just talked about. You will have your travel voucher purchased. You'll come into Winnipeg. A shuttle will pick you up at the airport, take you to the hotel. The next morning you'll have a hot breakfast. We'll be on the court. We'll come back from the basketball venue, the game. You'll have yourself a lunch, and then you'll have a dinner, and then we're off to interviews that essentially will be taking place as part of our podcast on Saturday evenings at the International Players Club as part of our focus. So with all of this, quality game footage, quality interviews, quality etiquette, it's just teaching these young athletes how to perform on a level that they've probably never really been given the opportunity to deal with. That's what Midwest Basketball Exhibition Series is all about, that platform, giving that opportunity. Also at that semi-pro to pro level, there's one other thing here that's fairly key. And what that is that when a player gets invited out to that team, you might get a 10-day signing. That 10-day signing is essentially your opportunity to try out for this team. If you get signed to another 10-day, most likely you've made that squad. So just understanding the trials, the tribulations, the growth, the scraping of the knees, looking at Mamba mentality. You know, you can't have great results with mediocre effort. So does that take focus, 2 to 3 workouts a day in order to get past that other player? What does it really take to mean the word professional? And this is what I want you guys to think about as you're going through your journey with Midwest basketball. So we have a lot of stops that are going to be happening, not just in Winnipeg, but we're going to be in Toronto, we're going to be in Ottawa. And as we continue to expand our stops, we are recruiting more players. As we recruit more players, the end goal is to be something larger than just an exhibition series. So once again, I'm just going to plant that seed and walk away, continue to water it, and we'll see where the development and the growth of all of this comes along. But with that being said, it's not in vain. There's an exit strategy here for everybody. So if your body's bruised up, can't play anymore, there's a lot of wealth of knowledge there to pass on to younger players. There's so much to this. And it's really about an each one, teach one program. So with that being said, lottery draft season this year is going to be like none other. And this season of 2024-25 is going to be something to really take part in. So it doesn't matter where the train is. I'm just suggesting that you get along and come along for the ride. We'll be back from this commercial break and we're going to close out this segment. See you soon.
Fly whip, fly in it. Ay, I ain't got time, I ain't got a minute. What? I ain't about to roll up, we ain't about to kick it. Every day I'm out doing something different.
Welcome back. Now, this is a public service announcement from Coast to Coast Sports. If you haven't been given the manual, the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving Earth, how would you know the difference between right and wrong? Most of the time it just boils down to conscience. But you tend to lose your consciousness sometimes when you're out having fun or you have peer pressure around you. There might be drugs or alcohol that's there, and you lose a bit of your faculty. So a couple things that I want to bring home during Frosh Week as homecoming and all the rest of this takes place is to party safe. Now, we deal with tons of athletes in the 18 to 25 category, and the biggest mistake that you can make is that you're a top athlete running like a well-oiled machine, but the one night that you decide to let your hair down, it's fatal. I want you to think about that. So if you're going out, make sure you're going out with your crew. Make sure you're going out with somebody that has your back. When you go out, make sure that you're going to a place that has a hydration station. These are all very important things. This is Vin Robinson, and this is our public service announcement ringing home. Vin Robinson back here with C2C Central inside the International Players Club. There's a lot at stake here. Coming up in November, we're playing for Pride, Army versus Navy. We're playing for the trophy. Who will win the Royce Jeffries Memorial Trophy? This is yet to be seen. Who will be the most valuable player? This is yet to be seen. Now, this is the portion of the show where we wrap it all up with a nice bow. Last year, as I'd mentioned, each player came into Winnipeg and got $100 per diem in order to participate. We're going to leave that by wayside this year, and what we're going to do is call it Moneyball. Now, what we were doing is we were going to present a small bursary, a small award of $250 for the student athlete that would perform the best. But I think what we're going to do right now, just because I'm in a good mood, is we're going to bump that up to $300. So that's going to be a $300 bursary that's going to go to the most valuable player. Now, most valuable player does not mean the player that scores the most points. There's a lot of different facets. And really, when I think about it, last year's recipient of the Hart Award was Joel Mukadi that came out of the Ottawa area. So it's doing the intangibles, diving on the floor for the ball, making sure that you're cheering on your teammates when you're on the bench, scoring, playing defense. It's a lot of things that we're going to be looking at. So just like we just put out an extra $50 there for the most valuable player, we're going to have a secondary award that we're going to put into the mix as well. And that secondary award that we're going to put into the mix is just a $50 small bursary, once again, just to help with some supplies for student athletes, because we know that in that age category, it's tough. We even saw it with our Olympians. It's tough. So student athletes need that support. Nonprofit organizations such as ours need that support. But we're forging through to give opportunity for these young student athletes to perform. That's what this is all about. Looking forward to 2024-25 season. This has been Lottery Draft Talk and Dialogue. You could log on to coasttocoastsports.net for more information on this, or simply to rewind and play it back. But nevertheless, come check us out. Come be part of our community club. You know where to find us. C2C Central signing out. I'm Vin Robinson. Next time we'll see you with co-host Tyler Ranger.